Hi everyone! If you're new here, I'm Aude, a writer and filmmaker. I've written novels, short films, and short stories over the years in French and English. Welcome to my channel. Happy New Year, everyone! 2025 has come to an end, and here is my year in review and reflection on what I've been able to achieve this year and what I've missed. So, this year was a year full of highs and lows, as most years are. But I really want to highlight a couple of things. First of all, I picked up and started writing my novel, which is called Project 31. If you followed my journey, you know that I've struggled with this one, and I have been in writer's block hell for close to 13 years now, where I simply couldn't finish it, or I wasn't satisfied with what I wrote. It has been going on for years now, and I finally started writing Project 31, and it's going well. I'm proud of myself, and my goal is to finish the novel by the end of 2026. This year, I also increased the number of writers that I work with as a sensitivity reader. I offer, as you may know, coaching services for writers, and I edit their writing projects from manuscripts to podcasts to scripts. However, outside of my editing services, I also provide sensitivity reading services. I help writers have a better understanding of the racial and cultural background of the characters and give them notes as well as cultural elements they can get inspiration from to make these characters more accurate and for people, readers, to be able to identify with these characters. In 2025, I also delivered my first workshop at a university, Paris Dauphine, with DVK, which is a charity that promotes diversity in children's literature. And it was part of a conference on diversity in children's literature in France, which was a great experience as I've never taught in an academic setting before on in schools. I also wrote a new science article for Nature magazine on the construction of a metro in Ivory Coast and what is at stake for public and informal transportation systems in Africa. So now let's move on to my goals and let's look at what I have been able to achieve and not been able to achieve. So as you can see, I have that template on Notion where I set up my goals every year. And my main goals were getting funding for my film. I didn't get it. Increase my social media presence in YouTube. I was not able to do that. And on Substack, not really. I've applied for grants and residencies. And I did set a number of money I was meant to earn per year. And I was not able to achieve that. I was also meant to edit Project 31. We're not there yet. I'm still writing it. I was also meant to find one accessibility project a month. I was meant to film my new short film. I did apply for grants. Now for Q4, I was not able to move to a low cost of living city. I rewrote Fatum, which is my TV spec script. I was not able to find accessibility clients. I still applied for grants and residencies, and I'll tell you more about the grants and residencies I was able to get in 2025. So one thing I did almost halfway through the year, and I'm doing that now for you, is to review what went well and what didn't. What went well was that I've been able to establish a higher rate for my services. I've been able to diversify my income streams. I've been able to monetize some of my social media platforms on Substack, where I got my first paid clients. I started working on different writing projects. I went on a press trip, but it didn't go so well, and I'll tell you more later. But the video of the press trip is available on YouTube, so check it out. I've also been able to, picked up more work, which was a good thing. And more work in the sense of sensitivity reading gigs. And I've also made the pivot to science journalism. I wrote science articles before, so I'm not a newbie, but I really wanted to work for to do more science writing because of the urgency of climate change, and I really wanted to write for big magazines. So the fact that Nature is a magazine I've wrote for is a good thing. So hopefully I'll do more science journalism in the future. I also went on a new writers retreat. It's an Arvin writers retreat, and I will share with you my adventures later on. My goal is to go on a writers retreat every year. What didn't work was that I had a low income. I struggled to get grants, fundings, and writers retreats. And, I also struggled to get enough clients. I am aware that every year, well, this year especially, has been complicated for freelance writers. A lot of them are thinking about giving up. It has been a tough year for a lot of industries. So I came up with a couple of solutions, right? Finding higher paid clients and pivoting. I used to mainly do culture, journalism, and now I aim to do more science, journalism. So that's a way for me to pivot. Also, because culture journalism is not in a great place now, and science journalism might not be in a great place, but it's still better than culture. I also found that culture journalism is full of people there are a lot of kind people that really want to help and support. While with culture journalism, it felt like a crab in a barrel kind of mentality. So I'm glad to make the pivot, although I have loved culture and I've loved covering music festivals for years. I've loved having a column for OK Africa where I was reviewing the best alternative black bands and black musicians. It was amazing. So now let's set up my goals for Q1. So I'm gonna try to find 3 regular clients for my workshops. I'm going to ask past clients for referrals. I'm going to keep on promoting my services on LinkedIn. I'm also going to contact learning and development professionals and groups because that's also my background. I'm also going to apply for gigs on different platforms because you can get creative writing gigs on different platforms. I am still looking for one regular copywriting client, which is one thing I was not able to find in 2025. So I'm going to apply for gigs on different platforms and also apply for freelancing newsletters, which can be really, really helpful. I'm always on the fence about paying for these because I feel like you shouldn't pay to work. That defeats the purpose. But some freelance newsletters have been great. My other goal for Q1 is obviously still applying for grants and residencies, and also hopefully writing half of Project 31. I am on chapter 3 now. The goal is to write 2 chapters a month, which is wild. I'm gonna try. I need to be optimistic about it, but I'm gonna try because, as you know, I'm a slow writer. That's who I am, and that's okay. My other goal, another one, is to get 1 ghostwriting client a month, and I look for ghostwriting clients on Fiverr, and I also ask for referrals or ask, people around me if they know any. So that's for it. My other goal that I was not able to achieve in 2025 was to grow on Substack and YouTube, which are the 2 main social media channels that I'm using. The goal is to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and be monetized. And on Substack is to get 500 subscribers and to get also more paid subscribers on Substack. So hopefully I'll reach it. I have been a bit disappointed with my very slow growth on YouTube despite me taking it very seriously. But we move and we keep on doing that. For our Q2 goal is to find funding for Khan, which is my short film. I want to find at least 10 grand for a short film. That's not a lot, and discuss different strategies with my producer. And I want to finish the new draft. One of my goals was to shoot it because I really wanted to get a rough first draft of a short before mid 2026, but most likely it's not going to happen. My goal of increasing my social media presence is going to be the same for Q2, and my goal of applying for grants and residencies is also going to be the same. In terms of being more productive and avoiding creative burnout or me being miserable and stressed, is also to limit my time on social media and to stop any kind of screen time by 8:40 p.m. That's a big goal of mine. I struggle sometimes, but this year I have been very successful in turning my phone into a dumb phone. There are no social media on my phone, only on my iPad, and it has been good for cutting things. So, and I also have a rule: no social media during the weekend. And if you're on social media, try to post something. If you're not posting, what the fuck are you doing there? So that's the goal for Q2. Also, another goal, now that we're moving to Q kind of like 4, is also to find a French speaking publisher. It has been one of my goals for 2025, wasn't able to succeed. So another thing I do when I set up my goals for the year is obviously removing my review of them. So the no, yes, of what I've been able to succeed, obviously it doesn't make sense because 2026 just started. You don't know what's going to work and what is not going to work. I also want to find one accessibility project for Q3, for Q4, for every quarter of a year. In terms of applying for grants and residencies, the goal is to apply for, I know I've put 2 grants a month, but now I'm thinking maybe 1 grant would be okay, because the grant application takes so much time. I filled 1 grant application for not even that much money, and it was 40 pages. It took me 2 to 3 months to finish it. I was stunned. And my goal is to get at least 1 or 2 grants a year and at least 1 writer's residency a year. So, and I will tell you more about that as well. Another goal for Q2, if we go there, it's a writing goal, right? So it's to send my TV spec script Fatum to agents and production companies. I've been working on Fatum for 5 years now, and it's time for it to go. It's in a good shape, and even if it's not, it's really time for me to go and to let it go. I think that's another thing I've learned this year, not trying to be all woo-woo and shit, but I think that sometimes projects don't work because their time is not right, and sometimes you have to let the project breathe, and that's pretty much it. So that's my goals for 2026. Now I have to end on a not so great note. So the things that didn't work in 2025 was that I applied for around 30 artist residencies and only got into 2. One of them is an Arvin residency, and like I said, I will tell you more about it later. I also applied to around 20 grants and only got 1. I've applied to 5 fellowships and got 0. One thing I've learned is that sometimes you can do everything you can and a lot of things won't work out, and that's okay. So I also went on the press trip, like I've told you, it was good, but unfortunately the magazine that called Waffles and Cream never paid me for that work that I did and the article I wrote. This is unprofessional and terrible for freelancers like myself. So I wasn't happy about it. All in all, in 2025, I moved closer to my dream of one day being a full-time writer, but it was a rough year for freelancers and I held on tight. What are your goals for 2026? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe to my channel for more writing and filmmaking related videos. If you want to support my small business and my work, look at my website as well as my books available in most online stores. Thanks.